A portfolio can survive volatility, but can it survive reality breaking? If markets close, currencies fail, governments weaken, and one person presses the wrong button, the question is no longer, what do you own? It becomes, what can you actually use, protect, and sustain? Most portfolios assume normal civilization continues. The stock exchange opens, the bank clears payments, the brokerage account loads, the currency buys food, the government maintains order, the internet works, the supply chain delivers, the legal system enforces claims, the power grid stays on, the market tells you what your assets are worth. And most of the time, that assumption is reasonable. Civilization usually continues. Markets usually reopen. Systems usually repair themselves. But serious planning cannot only consider the normal path. It has to ask what happens when the path breaks. What happens if one person, somewhere, presses one button? A nuclear exchange is an extreme scenario. It is not something to sensationalize. It is not something to build a life around in fear. But it is useful as a thought experiment because it exposes the deepest weakness in modern wealth. Most modern assets depend on systems. A stock depends on markets, companies, exchanges, custodians, legal claims, accounting, electricity, and confidence. In an extreme systemic crisis, that stock may still represent ownership in theory, but theory may not feed you. A bond depends on repayment. A bank balance depends on banking infrastructure, currency confidence, and withdrawal access. Fiat currency depends on trust in the issuing system. Crypto depends on networks, power, internet access, custody, and social belief. Gold is different. Gold has carried value across many kinds of crises because it is physical, scarce, portable, and widely recognized. But even gold has a limitation. Gold stores value. It does not grow food. It does not provide water. It does not shelter a family. It does not produce energy. It does not organize a community. It may help you trade, but it does not directly create the conditions of life. In a severe crisis, the question changes. It is no longer only what is this asset worth. The question becomes, what can this asset do? Can it shelter? Can it feed? Can it store water? Can it produce energy? Can it support animals? Can it hold tools? Can it gather people? Can it create distance from dense chaos? Can it remain useful even if no one is quoting a price? This is where land becomes different. But land alone is not enough. That is the mistake. A piece of land without water is fragile. Land without food systems is incomplete. Land without tools is passive. Land without skills is underused. Land without community is lonely. Land without local relationships is exposed. Land without defensibility can become a liability. Because if institutions truly fail, ownership on paper may not be enough. The title deed matters when courts function. The fence matters when boundaries are respected. The bank account matters when banks open. The police matter when public order exists. But in a severe breakdown, the question becomes more primal. Can you actually hold, use, maintain, and protect what you own? That does not mean living in paranoia. It means understanding that real resilience is not one asset, it's a stack. Land, water, food, shelter, tools, energy, health, skills, community, local trust, self-defense, operating routines, a reason people cooperate, a reason people stay, a reason people protect the place together. This is the real hedge, not land as speculation, land as a base for human capacity. And the surprising thing is that this stack is not only useful in collapse, it's useful in almost every future. In normal times, food systems create health and hospitality. Community creates belonging. Skills create confidence. Land creates memory. Tools create agency. Self-sufficiency creates dignity. Local relationships create trust. A defensible, productive place creates peace of mind. So the same things that help you survive the worst-case scenario can also help you thrive in the best-case scenario. That's the difference between fear-based prepping and life-based resilience. Fear-based prepping asks, what if everything collapses? Life-based resilience asks, what kind of life is stronger, healthier, more meaningful, and more capable no matter what happens? That's the real Base 2 thesis. This is not an argument to abandon financial assets. That would be simplistic. A resilient portfolio still needs liquidity. It may need cash. It may need productive businesses. It may need public markets. It may need gold. It may need portable assets. But a resilient life may also need something else. A place. A place that remains useful when the screen goes dark. A place that can hold people, feed people, ground people. A place that gives wealth a physical form. The point is not fear. Fear makes people irrational. The point is humility. No one knows which future arrives. So the strongest strategy may not be optimizing everything for the best-case future. It may be owning some assets, building some skills, and forming some relationships that still matter when the forecast is wrong. The button test is not only about nuclear war. It's about stripping wealth down to its most basic question. If the systems stopped working, what would still matter? Not just what would still have a price, what would still have use? Land you can live on, water you can access, food you can produce, skills you can practice, tools you can repair, people you can trust, a community that can coordinate, a place you can protect, and a reason to keep going. Maybe the ultimate hedge is not an asset at all. Maybe it's a way of living where survival and meaning come from the same foundation. Useful land, trusted people, practical skills, and a place worth protecting. This is not a prediction, and it's not fear marketing. It's a stress test. Which assets still matter when the model breaks? That's the kind of question Base 2 studies inside the Telegram community.